Your Highness, Princess Fira, I write to you with solemnity as I find myself struggling lately, and do not know which way to turn. I do not wish to confess to the priests around me, as I fear the reprisal for the faults that have plagued me these past few weeks. But you, Your Highness, have always spoken to me with kindness, with respect, even though I surely don't deserve any. I'm not sure if you even remember the first time we met. I was a young adolescent then, one of the unblessed. I snuck to the surface looking for a way to change my life. It's like everyone around me on the streets knew I was unblessed. Every second of their icy stares just reminded me of how wretched I was. But you smiled. There was kindness in your eyes. Rather than round me up and send me back below, you spoke to the priests, convinced them to take me in, to teach me the ways of those blessed by the holy fire. Now I feel like I've wasted your faith in me. I know my teachings. I know the reason why we do not let the unblessed live upon the surface, but it feels so wrong. I should be grateful for this opportunity, but I fear for those I knew below, my friends, my family, my neighbors, my people. Why must we still punish those for an act they had no part in? The priests here represent the people of Amber, and yet we do not represent those below. Are they not people? Do they not suffer enough? I wish to help all citizens of Amber, and yet I am not sure how to reach the unblessed. You can see why I am so conflicted, and I apologize for my transgressions. Humbly, Acolyte Fur.
من الجحيم نشرق وإلى الجحيم سنرجع.
Hello Hooligans and welcome home. Yes, finally another episode for you guys. And special thank you firstly to Sunfire SG, Sunny, my co-writer for Home. Actually did the voiceover that you guys just heard and wrote it as well. So thank you so much to him. He was playing a priest who is kind of in like a little bit of a conflict between the fire and the ice, the blessed and unblessed. So very cool little teaser into some of the future stuff going on. You guys may have just heard my cat freaking out in the background. So yeah, let's talk about Home. First of all, I am in a I'm updated my default plus improved. So everything looks fantastic, and it actually looks really nice. I'm running Sealers right now. So Home, it has been about two or three weeks since the last episode, and I kind of want to explain what's been going on, why I've been so busy, and what's happening with Home. So firstly, for those of you who do not know, I have joined up with the Realm of Vastin, which is my buddy Fixit412's world. It is survival, it is tons of fun, it is basically just a giant, like, survival, like, multiplayer version of, like, what I'm doing here. So it fits really well. I'm really happy to be on that server with such great people. A lot of those people you guys are going to know already. I kind of joked with, I kind of joke with Fixit that he basically stole all of my Home build team, which he kind of did, but that's okay, because I am so happy to be actually building with them, because the home build team actually doesn't build. They just kind of, like, I'll send them a picture of that building over there, and then they'll let me know what they think. So I'm really excited to be building with them. So some really, really good people there. You guys can check out the videos for that on my channel. But it took a little while to get everything prepped up over there. So basically I had to get all my gear. I had to do just all of the fun things you have to do when you're joining a new server. And so that took a little bit to do. And then just like that on top of just getting episodes out and kind of just doing our thing over there, I have been running into an issue with home. So with home, my story is getting behind my builds in the series. And what that's doing is basically making it so that while I am building here, like I'm trying to, the story is getting ahead of what I want, or what should be happening within my builds. So I'm trying to build the palace, like here. I'm doing a bunch of other stuff down below, which I'll show you guys in a minute. But now I'm getting to a point where the main story is becoming so far ahead that I am like getting behind on my build. And a lot of that does have to do with that I've been prepping for other things, Vastin and whatnot, and it's just been a little bit of a frustrating like thing where I need to get on here and I need to do what I need to do, but I also need my story to happen, and because that's the most important thing to me for this series. It's definitely the absolute most fun part. I really enjoy building, but the story and coming up with those intros is probably my favorite part of doing it, and I feel like it's a lot of people's favorite part. So what I'm going to be doing, I had a talk with Fixit just kind of about like what's been happening with me mentally about home and things like that, and just building and telling the story and everything. And he made a suggestion that I'm probably going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start spacing out the main story a little bit. So what that means is that you guys are going to get more and more of the smaller stories, the little things on the side. The baker, you know, maybe some more of James and Sarah Everlost, who is Bunnycrafts and Origin Kit played. And so you guys will start getting maybe a little bit more of that, and I really think I want to like kind of get a bit more back into my world anvil as well, and get a lot more of the lore written down, I think, too. I think that would be a lot of fun for everybody. For those of you who do not know, I am using a website called World Anvil, and that's where I'm basically putting all of my lore for like the entire place. So if you want to know more about Ember, or you want to know more about Sanctuary, or some of the characters that are in this, you can actually go to the World Anvil. It's actually listed down below. You guys should be able to find that pretty quick. And so that's what's going on, and I'm really actually rather kind of excited about it. The new year's coming up, and what it does is it gives me a kind of my resolution to get home to where I want it to be in schedule. I've said before that this is really a first time for me trying to get this story and the builds and all that other stuff like in play, and it is definitely an experiment. You know, Fixit talked to me recently, well, not recently, but a little while ago, and it was saying that, you know, this series to him personally was a game changer for what he does on his server with the cinematics in the beginning and getting the lore out and stuff. And you know, first of all, that meant a lot to me, but it also, you know, this is an experiment. It really is. This is an experiment on a new type of Let's Build, and so I'm still learning along with providing this for everybody. Like, there's still an element in this that I just don't know, and that I'm kind of going at this and just not hoping that it works, but trying to find ways for it to work. And I feel right now that I need to get a little bit behind on my main story and just start kind of coming up with some cool stories about Ember. And those are always the things I love anyway. I really love the story about the common people of the world. I think that's a really important thing that a lot of people don't concentrate on when they're building stories. And especially when they're building world stories and building worlds. You know, there's the main characters, and the main characters are super awesome, and I love them, and I love all the people that are playing them and just doing such a great job. But there are smaller stories in the world, and the smaller stories are what make up the people who live here. And I want you guys to know them as well. I want you to know the common man. And I think that's something I want to concentrate on a little bit more. And the story will continue. There's still tons of stuff going on. I really would like to kind of start a couple of, like, minor story parts. So, like, maybe things that are happening in the council, I think would be kind of cool. I want to start a little bit of side story with, like, other things as well. And I do have something planned for that. The end of Ember, like, the final episode of Ember is going to be a huge turning point in the story. And it's going to send a bunch of different characters off in a bunch of different directions, and it is just, it's the beginnings of the main story arc. So it should be really cool. There's a couple of people who know what's going to happen, the people involved, but there's also going to be people who are involved that don't know what happens. The last episode of Ember, whenever it ends up happening, is going to have probably about 9 voice actors. There's probably going to be a 5 to 10 minute intro. It's going to be pretty big. So it's going to be exciting to get into and just kind of figure out, like, what's going on, and I'm very excited about it. But for now, I'm not taking a step back from home. So home's still going to be happening, and it's going to be happening more on the weekly basis as it did before. But the main story you guys are going to get a little bit of a break on, mainly just because I need to get to a point in the builds where it makes sense. There needs to be certain things being built and done before I can continue the main story, and I'm going to try to do that as best as I can. So that is what's happening with Home. You guys are just, like, I still love this series, and I still know that you guys love this series, and I would really, I want it to continue doing well. So I am very, very excited, and that's going to be cool. I'm doing a big towery thing. So let's get into a little bit of the build now that I've talked to you guys a little bit about what's been going on with the series and, like, where it's going. So this is all pretty stinking new. Some of you guys may have saw this on the live stream, my Sunday live streams. But what I'm doing is I'm beginning the actual living space of the people in Ember, at least the blessed, the people who get to live underneath the sun. So let me explain a little bit of the build. First of all, this whole little cliff face here, which, by the way, I need to, we're gonna cut down some of this cactus while I'm talking. So this cliffy area here, this is actually something that was inspired to me by Pixel Brew. For those of you guys who know Pixel Brew, I've talked about him a bunch on this server before, or on this series before. He is the guy who did the Scorn logo for the Kingdoms from Home merchandise, which you guys can still get. The link is always down below. And he built these, like, really sweet looking, like, cliff sides on his Bruin build series, which is a great series. Like I said, he's down below. Go check out his series. He's also with me on Vastin, which is really, really super cool. I just did an episode with him, so you guys may know the name may sound really familiar. I just did an episode with him getting into his brain about, like, builds and build stylings and things that he likes to think about during builds. And so really, really cool. Such good inspiration. And it's just really nice to be able to bring in a little bit of inspiration from a friend's series, and definitely share that with you guys, because he's just an amazing builder and just an amazing person in general. So I got that done. I put up the little story right here. So this, I'm redoing the entrance, by the way, to the palace. That will all be, this is kind of a work in progress. The whole thing over there is a work in progress. So I filled all this in. This used to be just a bunch of air. And what I basically did to do that is I went back here, I filled all this up with sand. And then once I did that, I basically took the color that would be like on the actual mesa. So like I could do it like starting down here in the bottom. And I basically just went over it. So it's just doing this like right around the actual sand. So a good way if you have a bunch of sand or you have an easy way to get sand to fill in a landscaped area in a mesa. I know a lot of people don't build in mesas, so it gets a little bit confusing when you get into a mesa of what you're supposed to do, but it's a good way to fill in those spots. So I went ahead and did that. These buildings right here are going to be the first homes in Ember, and I'm still working on some of the designs with these. I didn't want them to be exactly like the Inn of the Flaming Lizard out there, but I did want them to have a little bit of the same thing. And right now they are just a bunch of like just squares. And this one's kind of a bit of what I want to do. I still want to work on some stuff in here. These are just facades. So you come in here and there's just black concrete and just some lighting. So that's all they are right now. That's all they're probably going to be. I made that decision when I basically just needed, I have so much to fill around here and I don't want to have to do interiors and just complete houses in everything. So that's going on up here. I'm going to fill up this whole pathway up here with life. I want little carts. I want a couple little little shop stalls and things like that. Just some things to really fill in the place and make it look really, really nice. And then eventually we will move this up here and I will do something very similar up here. Probably do a little bit of that cliff face as well, just to kind of give it just that continuity, like the pulling this up here as well. And then I will probably do the same facades on this section. But once I get up to the top, I want to actually do some buildings. I still need to do the Cathedral of Fire. The Cathedral of Fire is going to be a big build. It is the central point of Ember's religion, which is very big to them. They are basically a military religious culture. And so this thing is going to be very large, as well as the palace. So I want the palace over there. I'm probably going to have the Cathedral of Fire over here. And then we are going to basically do all the little detail builds around everywhere, shops. I want to get some industry going on in here as well. So in this area, probably over here, I want to set up a glass shop. So like a foundry for glass, which is their main export in here because there's so much sand everywhere. And so I want to do that. I also want to eventually pull a road over here, because for right now, the only way you can get in is the portals. But to actually use the portals, you're going to need a keystone, which is what will allow you to travel via the little birthday cake down there. But those are very short. Like, there's only a couple of them. And I still need to work that into the story. Which I already have planned out as something that Alvarid, the counselor from Arcanus, has built for everybody. So that's kind of what's going on here. I also did a custom tree. So I wanted to kind of do a palm tree, but not a palm tree. So I feel like this works. I feel this is kind of fantasy-esque. And I like it. I think it's good. I'm a fan of what it became. Now, I also may want to do some palm trees around here as well. But for this central tree, I wanted it to be something that was very, very specific. And I want to surround this here with maybe some little shop things, like it's a fallout of this place. And I still need to build our little coffee shop over there. So like I said, there's just a bunch of building that needs to be done here, and I don't want to I don't want my story to outpace my builds. So that's what's been happening with home, and I am super excited about where it's going. I am still very, very into this series. I'm still very into this world. I've just been very busy prepping Vastin, and then I also have a charity event that you guys are going to get a video on either before or after this, I'm not sure, but there's a charity event happening with Vastin that I am heading up, so I'm going to be working on that and trying to get that done too. So probably probably the beginning of the year, January, because it's coming up into Christmas time, you guys are going to see an increase in home and what's happening with it. But for now, I apologize for not being able to get out as much of home as I would like to, but I would much rather you guys be getting the full home experience than to just be putting out a bunch of, videos that are just like not very home feeling. So I think that's more important to me than just, putting out videos. And you guys have been getting a lot of the Vastin from me, so you guys should be happy. You guys should be happy. You're good. Do I want to pull some of this yellow? Maybe that'd be kind of cool. Do a little bit of the yellow here. But yeah, so that's what's going on. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for kind of going through a little bit of an update on home with me and just kind of learning about what's happening. I am going to be building on here. I want to get a little bit more on my world anvil, so you guys check that out. And then I'm gonna be getting some more short voiceovers, so maybe some more one-off voiceovers from people, and not so much of the main characters, and a couple of the stories from home. I think that would be fun too. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and make sure you guys check below for all of the normal links. The Patreon server is still going on, which is the Kingdoms from Home, so people are still building their kingdoms on there. Foxy Monoxide has actually started her Hope series on there, and she's just doing fantastic on that. Crafting Mantis has sent me a new voiceover for her section as well, and she has been on there. She is also involved in the Vastin server as well. So you guys go check everybody out below, get yourself some Scorn gear, sign up for the Patreon, and play on the server with me, and yeah, that's it. That's all of it, and I am sorry for the kind of updatey video that's been going on, but I am happy, and the series is going. I'm super busy, and I apologize. More home to come, guys, I promise, okay? Alright, so thank you so much, and I'll see you later. Alright, bye-bye.